Hi, this is Max from Abstract Automation. I'm just putting together a quick video here to walk through 5 very easy to do things that everybody should have done in their CRM. If you haven't done these things yet, do them today. Super easy. You do not have to be a developer. You won't have to write any code, and you won't have to hire an expensive consultant like me. So here's what I think everyone who has Zoho CRM, or really any CRM for that matter, should do. And let me just run through the list real quick, and then we'll get into how to do them in the system. So number 1, field organization. When you get Zoho CRM for the first time, you get a whole bunch of fields thrown onto your module screens. And I see just so many people, all the stock fields are still there. As they create fields, they just create this big long laundry list of fields. They're not organized, and their screens become a total mess, and it takes everyone forever using the system to find what they're looking for. So we'll talk about organizing fields into sections. Next thing, layout rules. There are rules that you can define in the system so that when you're looking at a particular record, certain fields are hidden or shown based on attributes of the record you're looking at. Example, when I'm looking at a customer record, I want to see information like credit limit or salesperson or whatever might be relevant only when I'm looking at a customer record, compared to if I'm looking at, say, a vendor record or a prospect record. There might be a completely different set of fields that are important to see in those scenarios. So why show all the fields all the time? That's layout rules. Number 3, required fields. I look at so many different Zoho CRM systems every day, and it amazes me how so many of them are not requiring input from their users. So what happens over time is you end up with a database of hundreds or thousands of contacts in the system that have no categorization, they're missing email addresses, they have no titles, they have no phone numbers. These are pieces of information that a user should be collecting when they interact with a customer, and they will come into play down the road for things like reporting, dashboards, marketing, whatever, right? If you don't have that information input into the system, you're not going to be able to get it out later. Pick lists. So if there's a text field on a record, unless it's really a field that you want to let people just type whatever they want in that field, make it a pick list. Make them select a value or an option for that field that is going to be spelled correctly, entered consistently, and this way you will have much better data to work with when it comes time for those other things I just mentioned: reporting, marketing, whatever. That's pick list. Number 5, dependent fields. So what this one means is, let's say you have multiple pick list fields on a record, and you want to sort of cascade those values in a way that, depending on what you select in the first pick list field, determines what options you see in the second pick list field. So for example, let's say I have a field called product type, and my options are software or hardware, and then I have another field called product specific, and I only want to see options for software if I pick software in the first field, and I want to see hardware options if I pick hardware in the first field. So hopefully that makes sense. So let's get into these. They're super easy. We'll dive right in. All right, field organization. So I've got a demo CRM here. Let's go to the setup and then over to our customization modules and fields. Let's work in the accounts module for a little bit. First of all, layouts, standard layout. There's just a side comment. I see people sometimes creating new layouts and messing around with multiple layouts. Please avoid that. It becomes a real mess and a hassle to undo later on. I've never encountered a situation in all my years dealing with the CRM that really required multiple layouts. What you can do with layout rules will get what you want done. All right, so here is my accounts module. Now, it's not too bad, but there's a lot of fields in this section: account owner, account name, rating, phone number. So a lot of this stuff is out of the box Zoho fields that they give you. And if you're not going to use them, get rid of them. If you want to use them, fine, use them, leave them there. That's great. But like SIC code, sorry, but I'm never going to type an SIC code on a record in my database. So I'm going to take that SIC code, click that button, remove that field, get rid of it, okay? Now that doesn't delete the field permanently. It puts it off to the side so you won't see it on the screen. Alternatively, if you want to delete it permanently, there is an option to delete it if it's a custom field. So the standard fields you can just remove off the screen. It doesn't let you actually delete them forever, but any custom field that you might have created, you can delete permanently. All right, so what I'm going to do here is get rid of a couple of like ticker symbol. I am never going to use that. Let's get that off the screen. All right, now what I want to do is I want to chop up this block of so many fields into tighter areas. So what I'm going to do is grab a new section and drop it in here. And let's call this account details. So what I'm going to do is I want my like contact type of information for the account up at the top, like the account name, phone number, fax number, which is kind of funny too. I would probably get rid of fax number, website. All right, but then what I want to do is bring some of these details like number of employees, ownership, whether it's a public or private company, their annual revenue, industry, and I'm going to drag this stuff down into this area. Now what I also like to do is every module has a couple of fields created by and modified by that are like system generated fields. You're never going to type information into those fields. They just automatically update as you work with your database. And for that reason, I like to take a new section and call it system info and drag any field like that into that area and then drag that whole section all the way down at the bottom. Okay, and so that's all I'm going to do for now, but you can see how when you look at this screen, let's just save our changes and close, and then let's go into an account so we can see the effect of what I just did. When you look at an account after making those changes, you can see that you get these nice sections organized with your fields, right? So that's what I like to do as far as layouts. Now, next thing is creating a layout rule. Now, what a layout rule is you can hide fields or entire sections based on some sort of attribute on the record. So let's say, for example, the account details section. Let's say I want to hide that whole section unless they're a customer, right? I don't want to see all that stuff unless I'm looking at a customer record. So what I'm going to do is create an easy layout rule for that. We go into our accounts module, go to layout rules. I'm going to create a new layout rule. Let's call it show customer fields. And this is going to be based on account type. Account type is customer. We're going to trigger an action. We're going to show a section, which is our account details section, and then save that rule. All right, let's go see it in action. That's all we got to do. So let's go to one of our accounts here. And you can see that the account type is something other than customer, and we are not seeing that account detail section. It's hidden right now. So let's say if we change this account to a customer, you will see all of a sudden those fields show. So this is great for just decluttering your screen. All right, so that's layout rules. What do we have next on our list? Required fields. Super simple. If you want to make sure people are filling out the information completely on the records in the database, just make the fields required. Okay, so let's say we always want to make sure we get a phone number. We're going to go to that field, click the dots, and then mark as required. Easy as that. And you'll see a little red indicator on the side of the field, which alerts the user to know that they have to fill something into that field. If it's a pick list field, you might give them an other option. So, maybe they don't know everything at the time of entering the account, but at least they can mark it as other. And then over time, someone can run a report and get a list of all the others, go back and clean it up if you want to, but at least it's just not kind of being totally ignored. So that's required fields. Pick lists. Another easy one. When you create a field on a record, you can create a simple text field, which is great. You just drag and drop and give the field a name. Let's call this category, for example. Now, the problem with this is it's just a text field, so I can type anything I want into this field. We go to an account, and we go to that category field I just created. I can type anything in this field. So what that the problem that that presents is you are not locking users into picking certain values, which means your spelling is inconsistent or wrong. People are using different terminology for the same thing. And then when somebody goes to ask for a report out of the system where I want everybody that is X or everyone that is Y, you're all over the place and it's really tough to make a report, and you've gotten yourself in that situation. So the best thing to do is, if it's a text field and you can predict, I would say 90 or so percent of the time, the values that should go into that field, then it should be a pick list. So super easy. It's just another field type here. Let's get rid of our category field. We'll remove it. We'll come over here and then permanently delete it because it's a custom field. We're able to do that. And then over here, we will drag a pick list field over. And I think I have to save first because I'm going to create a field of the same name. And we'll call it category again, but this time as a pick list. Category. All right. So you've created the pick list field. Now you just have to set up your values. You go to the properties of that field. Zoho always gives you these sort of placeholders here, option 1, option 2, but you can create your list and populate as you wish, whatever you want. Set up your pick list and you're good to go. All right, so that's pick lists. Last, dependent fields. This one's maybe the more sophisticated one out of the list, but it's still super easy. And I have a sort of prepared example here. So in my accounts module, I have two fields, one called territory region and another field called territory state. So the idea here is the territory region is a broader category where I have options for Northeast, Southeast, Midwest, West, that sort of thing. And then when I select one of those options and I go to select what state the territory is, I only want to see the states that are relevant to the region that was selected on the record. So I'm not looking through a list of 50 states. All right, so to do this, what we do is we click on the gear up at the top, and there's an option called Map Dependency Fields. And let me save before I get out of here. So we're going to do a quick save, and then we're going to go Map Dependency Fields. Okay. So from here, there's a new button. Click that. First, we pick the main field or the more broader category field. So in this case, it's territory region. And then we pick the child field, which is the territory state, and click next. So now what it's showing you is it's giving us this matrix where, depending on the value of the territory region, like if it's blank, if it's Northeast, if it's Southeast, if it's Midwest, which options in the territory state field do we want to see as available options? So let's just do Northeast real quick. So Northeast would be something like Connecticut. Let's go with Massachusetts, Maine. I know New York would be in there, New Jersey, something like that. I'm not going to do all of them. And I'm sorry, you actually have to hold your control key down to do that. So I just have to do that. So that's Connecticut, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York. Okay, so you can see here how the ones in blue that are getting highlighted are the ones that will be visible under that category. Then we do Southeast. So Southeast, we're looking at Florida, Georgia, Alabama, okay, that sort of stuff, right? And then we're just going to hit save. So now, just to see that in action, let's zip over to some sort of account record to see it in action. So first, we're going to make this record a customer so that we see the fields that we're talking about here. We're going to pick a region for, you have to go into edit mode. So when you have a dependency rule, you have to go into full edit mode to edit the field. You can't just sort of edit on the fly. It's one thing to keep in mind. So you can see here, if I select state, I'm seeing all of them because I haven't picked a region yet. But if I pick our region like Northeast and then click the drop down, you see how that list of fields is contained to only the states that we define. So these are just 5 easy things that everyone should be doing with their Zoho CRM. Good luck and have a great day.